will
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'll open the Board of Sewer Commissioners meeting for March 28th. We are currently located in the plant conference room at 6 Tony Lane, approximately 1:30 p.m. Call the meeting to order. May I have a roll call, please?
Jim DeVerde present.
Bob Scanlon present.
Bernie Pigeon present.
Sandy Slavin.
Peter Dunlop present.
Next item on our agenda is our meeting minutes. We found that there is some questions regarding it. Of the February 8th, we have February 25th is missing. And on the February 28th or February 8th, there is also information that should be a part of the minutes. Namely, one would be the application and the awarding of a connection and the number of gallons. That should be a matter of record. And we will correct that and entertain the correction or acceptance at our next meeting. And we go on to the
I'm
next.
sorry, we keep missing the November 16th minutes are not available and they're not making the agenda. November 16th, I keep saying they're not here. It's the bylaw workshop. I've seen them online, we're missing them. And for the record, January 25th, 24 minutes are good, but they're not included on the agenda, so we cannot vote on them. And you're right, February 28th was corrected, but only available today for me to look at, and I'm not ready to support a vote of them.
Thank you. Any questions regarding what Sandy commented on? This has become a chronic problem which we'll have to address. Next item is abatements. We have one, we're 157 Swift Beach Road for $743. May I have a motion, please?
Make a motion, we accept the superintendent's recommendation.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any questions? There being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's a vote.
And for the record, it's account 738,592 that needs to be put into the minutes. And that's not, is that the one we're talking about?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. We need to identify them as the minutes go on.
Yeah, you go by account number, because
Yes.
PT isn't gonna cut it.
No,
Certainly.
account numbers.
Next item is abatement for 46 Circuit Ave. Account number 739504 in the amount of $743.
Motion, we accept the superintendent's recommendation.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any questions, concerns? There being none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? It's a vote. Next item is an abatement for 50 Circuit Ave, account number 739504, in the amount of $743.
We just
We
did,
just did
we
that
just
one.
did that one.
No,
Yes, we did, we just did 739,504.
Correct.
This is 505.
The agenda says 505, but I can't tell which
well,
is,
it's the same account number for two different lots.
No.
Yes.
What's
No, two different account numbers, 504 and 505.
one is for 48 Circuit, which is
Not on my
50.
paper.
No, look at the agenda.
They're gonna call you back.
The
Yeah.
The
agenda,
agenda is
Look at the
504.
account number.
I know,
They're
the
the same.
their document is wrong. It's the agenda that has a different number on it. The memos we have 48 Circuit Ave and 50 Circuit Ave with the same account number. The agenda has two different account numbers. I believe the document we have should have read 505 for 50 Circuit Ave. And I make a recommendation, we modify that as we approve it.
Any objections to the correction for account number 739505 for 50 Circuit Ave? There being none, it's so noted. Make a motion, we accept the correction.
Make a motion, we accept the correction.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's a vote on the motion, the original motion of accepting 50 Circuit Ave, account number 739-505 for $743.
Make a motion, we accepted on the superintendent's recommendation.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any discussion? There being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Vote. Next is an abatement for 2 Delavati Ave, account number 738517 for $743.
I make a motion we accept the superintendent's recommendation.
Seconded.
Motion's made and seconded. Any discussion?
To be denied.
That's the recommendation.
Okay.
I'm sorry, let the record show, the motion is to deny the application for abatement. Any further discussion?
I have a question. We don't do anything based on water usage, right? So this water is still on at this site, they're just saying they're not using a lot?
And why did you deny the abatement? For 50, yeah.
Criteria, one has to be off.
No, you're absolutely correct. That's the policy.
So to be clear, that the sewer bill denied because water was not turned off, as opposed to based on water usage.
Correct. Policy indicates the water has to be turned off in the
Yes.
house for a full year before the abatement can be approved.
So I make a recommendation that we modify this denial recommendation to indicate that the water has not been off for a year.
I'll second that. Recommendation.
Is this amended? Amend the original? Any further discussion?
It's
Peter?
not conforming to policy.
Yes, but that doesn't,
Yeah, I know.
read it, someone come back to say, not based on water usage, we don't do anything based on water usage, we do it because the water's been not turned off.
Which is policy.
Yes. So put
So
the word,
we can deny it because it does not conform to policy.
because the water has not been turned off,
Right.
yes.
Correct.
You don't have
Those
to go
statements are correct.
with Policy.
Doesn't follow policy or the water's been turned off, either one. Any further discussion? There being none on the recommendation to divide, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's a vote. Next item on the agenda is the contract policy. That's for, we got Weston and Sampson first. So Weston and Sampson, request change order number 2, increase funding of the original contract executed on October 20th, 2022, and change order 1. For CR-24-40 executed March 2024. That was change order, was executed on that date. Cost increase to the contract is $450,000.
Do we have it in here?
I
Does
don't,
anybody have Weston and Sampson in their folder? Oh, I see it, there it is. Change order number 2 for $450,000?
Yes, that's about it.
Why did we have it? I have no paperwork behind it, so why are we getting a contract change?
I don't have it.
See that? I found it in my folder.
Huh?
I found it in my folder.
Well, I did.
Change order to increase the amount of funding provided for the original contract due to a major increase in on-call emergency services and the rental of blowers at the WPCF. Costs have risen expeditiously beyond original cost expectations. Cost increase of the contract is $450,000.
Increase in what service?
on-call emergency services.
What are they doing for half a minute?
Well, Bernie's trying to tell us.
Due to a major increase in on-call emergency services and the rental of blowers at the WPCF, costs have risen expeditiously beyond original expectations. Cost of the increase of the contract is $450,000.
From what funding?
Third-party contractor service.
We need backup?
Good.
Yeah, I know, they're saying things went up. Do they have to show us?
I would presume, as you're going on, you don't have this last page?
All we have is this.
This all should be in the packet.
So that's all we have.
May I have a motion,
Some of
please?
us don't even have that.
Make a motion, we accept the change order. $450,000.
Some of us do.
May I have a second on the motion, please?
I make a motion.
You made the motion, I'm looking for a second. Do you hear one?
I can't second everything.
I'll second it. I'll second it.
Sorry, I didn't mean to overrule.
No, it's okay.
Motion's made and seconded. Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Let's see. Carried. 500.
Do you want me to sign it? Just do that too.
Why don't you switch to Wheaties if you're not gonna do it? Next order on the agenda is from Norwell Service Company. Request change order number 1 for contract CR 21-23-21 to extend expiration of contract executed on February 2024 to February 28, 2025. No additional funds are needed for this extension.
Make a motion, we accept this extension request.
I'll second that.
Motion's made and seconded. Any further discussion?
Just to clarify, we're doing this so we can pay a bill?
Yes.
So we incurred expenses after the contract date, we now don't need to extend it to pay. Okay. Thank you.
Motion's made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Vote. And the last one is Bernice and Son Inc., Phase 2. Contract for agreement for professional services, emergency repairs to Wakinko Ave sewer main. This was originally submitted and it went through under the Beta consulting name. However, it's not Beta who did these services and had the contract with Bernice.
I know that, they're there.
And in which case, in order to pay them, they have to be on file. And then with an accepted contract under Bernice and Sons Inc. name. Any questions?
So this was Beta, but we have to put it under another name.
No, we originally approved the contract. We
Yes.
thought it was contract, and the wording said Beta. We don't have a contract for the services with Beta. We have a contract with Bernice, and it was an error.
Okay, Bernice did the work,
Yes.
Yes, they did.
and so we're just clarifying who did the work so we can pay the right people.
Correct, it's more of a typing error. It was
Okay.
entered under the wrong contract,
Clerical, okay,
clerical error,
but it's no increase in price or cost or anything like that.
none.
Wrong name.
Make a
Of
motion we
contractor.
accept this.
I second.
Motion's made and seconded, any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, it's a vote. Next item is the sewer commission business for discussion and possible vote. First one is a sewer request for Broad Street. For Yvonne Dunkel, I believe is pronounced. Requesting reviewing team to review the rejected drain layer permit. It was submitted by the contractor, Mr. DeAndre, for the owner. And they submitted their application for the building permit off Broad Street. And it's on hold because of the sewer department response. Motion to advise the applicant,
Oh, wait,
uh,
do they have a stub? What was the issue? Why was it denied?
did you do a site visit on this?
Let's see if this is one thing. Yeah, they do not have a stub. Gap Engineering did a plan to trench out and tap into our manhole. So they currently do not have a stub. So they would like to,
Could be put on our list?
yeah, that is correct.
Is there a street address? Off Broad Street.
Right, so there's no building there now.
Try to be more specific.
So that's the lot right now.
Where's Broad Street?
Where is it?
Yeah, I know, off of Acorn, but where's Broad Street? Onset, Swiss Beach, someone give me a hint.
Where is it?
Where in part of town, don't I?
Not Swiss Beach.
Can you be more vague?
From the county?
Well, the overall point was he wanted to be put in the queue.
Bottom line, there's no stub. So
It'd be
under
nice if I
circumstances,
could put him in the queue with a street name, a number.
His number is off Broad Street.
Oh, there's other lots down there
just to
too.
advise the applicant that their name will be placed in be kept on file. I want to allude to there being a list.
But for how many gallons?
Well, if they're doing a residence, I think it's 1 EDU.
That doesn't say how many gallons.
We haven't determined.
Yeah. I don't know, I didn't have the layout of how big a house he wanted, but I believe he wanted 4 bedrooms. It's not written down there.
Wow.
Does this, would this qualify for betterment charge
Yeah.
or development charge? Development charge.
All of the above.
Okay, we have no street number. Off Broadway.
Well, all I need to do is go on the list at this point, because,
Yeah, but I don't know how to record it because we don't know how many gallons.
well, it's one EDU. You're only picking up a house, right? And you haven't determined what an EDU is, so.
But every time we put a house, something on the pending list, we've indicated the number of gallons for that project.
And
Why
The
would
number
this
of-
be an exception? I'm surprised she can build, she says next to a vernal pool. Can somebody read me the lot number? I'm not, it's not good enough for me. Lot, oh, I can see it, lot 1025
Looks like
R
A5.
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 It would be for betterment. What's the other reason we're gonna charge it for?
There's only one we could be charging for, and that'll be in the development charge.
Development?
Not
So, do we have a pipe on Broad Street?
I don't think it's betterment,
Yes.
page down.
no betterment, the betterment, the
It does not
development
stop.
charge
There's no stuff
takes
for
over
that.
from the betterment.
Okay, what is the development charge we're gonna be charging?
What is the betterment? That's the charge,
You told me to do a development charge.
same price.
The
Same number.
development and betterment are the same thing?
Same number, no, not the same thing. A betterment charge is one you can put on your tax bill, and it's payable over 20 years.
Should we be
And the
able,
development charge is paid at the time of doing it.
should we be able to tell this person how much her development cost is going to be?
The last
No.
betterment charge we had available was 18,000.
So we're looking at,
Regardless of the size of the house?
Has nothing
Okay.
to do with it.
So do you know how size the house is?
does
It
it,
would be
Well,
best to leave any
So
reference.
does it go on the cube?
I don't think,
This goes into a file.
But we don't know the gallon.
see,
So we should actually have them get back to us with them telling us how many bedrooms, so we have an idea
We can
of the
only,
gallons for the cube.
Agreed.
no,
when we start distributing connections, that's when we'd be concerned about the gallons. It's not necessary we have it in the record today, from my opinion.
I
and you
agree.
said put in a file, I don't have a file, I have a list, but I guess
That's all,
that's,
that's all we need.
so
One and the same.
we're looking at $18,000 for development cost, which because it's development, they can get it as a loan to be paid off over a period of time.
Please
It's
do
their
not-
problem how they get it.
We get it cash.
Please do not put the development cost of 18,000 in the record.
Do I put betterment cost of 18,000?
Development
Just
charge,
development or betterment costs
development,
may be incurred.
it's a development charge. It would be
So no
fair.
amount is available,
Well,
I'm gonna say no amount is available to a notified applicant.
Mhm.
do we know if the applicant paid the betterment when it went down the street?
She didn't
If
put
there
in,
was no stub, I
she
guess
didn't put in
not.
a stub,
That's not.
Okay.
so no stub. Development due, but no amount is available. No usage identified. So no gallons, no gallons per day available.
Is the water service exist? It's marked on the drawing.
Are there other homes on the street?
Yes.
And probably has water.
They put the water service, but they didn't put the stuff.
Did they put water service?
Excuse me?
Did they put water service?
Well, it's on the drawing.
It goes by the place, right?
No, it's on the drawing, it says it goes right to it. It's highlighted in blue. On the second drawing, Jimmy, the utility drawing.
Well, there's a lot more information we can certainly ask, but I don't see it's pertinent to
Right.
the current discussion.
Yeah, okay, you're right.
I'm not willing to put them on the pending list until we have some idea of the usage being requested. That's me.
No, I think they should go on the pending list. And if they're-
They have a right to go on a
They have
pending
a right
list.
to go on the
It's,
list.
we haven't, even determined what
How
potential
many exactly?
may qualify them to be
Correct.
allowed after we've lifted or anything of that nature.
We can be as obstructionist as the rest
Yes.
of the town if you
One
want.
point seven
Indeed.
acres.
So we have enough
If
to.
it's necessary.
I think
Go on about what.
Okay,
According
is,
to the zoning, huh?
Obstructionist like other towns.
we've discussed it thoroughly, I believe, so now we will, just advise the applicant that they'll be placed in a folder and be advised when we raise the moratorium or begin issuing permits.
So it will-
issuing exceptions
You
To the
said,
moratorium.
to clarify, to be placed on the folder or to be placed on the pending list?
no folder.
I don't have a folder.
Pending list.
Oh, here,
No, I
don't-
know that.
Don't refer to a list.
We've always referred to a pending list. I don't have a folder.
I have trouble with a list because then one says I was ahead on the list,
Well,
not down the bottom of the list.
Stick them in the cloud.
Yes, use cloud. The overburdened individual to my left here is, wants to on cloud. You're on your meds today, aren't you?
Yeah, no, I'm off my meds today. I almost stopped and picked up a pint of meds on the way here.
Only a pint?
Well, that's for starters.
Don't let the record show, please. I don't know why we laugh so much.
I'm not buying
The
medication.
next item on the agenda,
we didn't vote.
we don't have to vote, just a referral.
I'm not gonna vote to put them on the list without knowing the gallons.
We're not putting them on this, we're just
Putting
putting
them
them
in
in
a
a folder.
folder. I'm not gonna even put them in the folder. I don't know how much they need or want.
I don't think it's relevant at this time, Ken.
Did they say?
Do we assume
With all due
order for it
respect.
unless otherwise advised?
Okay,
Based
You
on the size
respect-
of the lot, I wouldn't expect a bigger than 4 bedroom house on that lot.
I don't know, 1.7
Any-
acres.
Any one bedroom or
Which
10 bedroom
maybe
house
indicates
is
what
equivalent
the-
of one EDU.
they could
If
put
we
up a
establish
big
one
house.
EDU,
And how many gallons is one ADU?
how relevant is that to the number of bedrooms?
I'll get back to you, I appreciate this. Thanks very much.
So we don't know where this place is. It's just someplace off of Broad Street.
Pizza being delivered here,
Okay.
or you'll pick it up on 320.
Okay, now typically,
Is Broaden back of Onset Avenue, they're out fair weather?
I don't know the town well enough to tell you that. I'm sorry. I'm gonna lie to you.
You know what I'm talking, Jimmy, if you get out
It's
Onset
very disappointing.
Avenue and
Maybe
get out
next door.
fair weather like if you're going in back. Is Broad Street the street that's back there?
Yeah, I know, yeah, I don't know if that's called.
It actually, it almost goes to the marsh, that then you'd be over into,
Right.
where's Paul, what's the name of that area? Agawam Beach.
Agawam Beach, right.
So it's Sunset Cove or something like
Yeah,
that?
Sunset Cove, right.
It's okay. It should never
No,
fall, so we're not gonna find it.
Sunset Cove, that's not one of the streets on Sunset Cove. I know that because we're down there constantly with conservation.
You mean, okay.
okay, next item on our agenda, we typically had scheduled Charlie Lombardi, CMW. He asked to be postponed to our next meeting, and we chatted with him yesterday briefly, and it's fine. Then going back to the next one, GHD, is the application before the planning board, which they got beat up, for the stormwater permit. And in listening to it myself, unfortunately, I couldn't sign in for whatever reason. They voted, I'm unfamiliar with the process. They voted in January to do a survey, site survey, and evaluation for the stormwater permit. And that would trigger a survey, as I mentioned, in prep for the March meeting, which they had earlier this week. Our intervention, or mine, was that we found that after 2+ weeks, nothing had been done, and we thought because of the transition between the outgoing planning board director and the incoming, that it got stuck in a crack somewhere. We called, found out a lot of stuff, but it didn't take place. And we were hoping that on the 25th, when GHD went in to do their presentation, that they would be able to address that review and be able to go forward with the application of a number of other permits that are required, and often some of them require that particular stormwater permit. What they are doing now is initiating that survey that the planning board conducts, and hopefully in May, I believe they have, put you on a schedule to go back in, and as a result of that survey, hopefully, we can get going forward with the stormwater permit. That isn't a requirement of, but a trigger to a number of other applications.
To clarify, in January 22nd meeting, they were asked to do a 53G, which is what they need to do a peer review of that site with the engineer. Nothing was done, no money was issued, no payment was made or anything like that, so for 6 weeks, nothing got done. And when the planning meeting happened on Monday, it became evident that nothing got done. 6 weeks we lost. What bothered me is that, I'm sorry, I'm going to pick on you. They said, we can't do it until, I guess they're doing it on May 20th, and they said to you, you said that there were deadlines, and they asked you what deadlines, and there was nothing coming as to what was a deadline that was critical to move this up on an earlier date. It was embarrassing that we had lost 6 weeks in this process.
So we did give the planning department a W-9.
Yeah, the day before this meeting,
No,
the week before, they
No.
sent us a week before this meeting.
No, what they just got was the scope of services from the independent reviewer. They've had the W-9.
2 weeks at a minimum.
No, I think it was in February.
How about payment?
So they asked us for a W-9
Mm-hmm.
and we provided that to them. And they had been, from what we understood, they've been waiting on the scope of services from the third-party review, and that just came in. That's what they said in the planning meeting, so they just got that. That they had just gotten the scope of services. They didn't give a date, they just, that term was used, that they just got the proposal from the third-party reviewer.
And to just interject, I've been talking with Sonia for over 2 weeks with respect to this, and as far as, they talk in terms of money and the like, our agent is the applicant, and that's who you would invoice. And as far as the W-9 is concerned, that was at a minimum 2 weeks prior to the meeting. And my intervention was just to find out why nothing had been done and to just plead our case going forward. But nothing took place. It's unfortunate, as Sandy said, we've lost 6 weeks.
But part of that discussion was that there was a hint that maybe Mr. Menard might be able to do this 43G, but it was identified that an engineer was required, and Mr. Menard is not an engineer, but Scott is, so maybe Scott could have done it for us some time ago,
No, I
if
was
we had
in-
known
I
that.
was in that conversation also on
Yeah.
the phone, and it was news to me that internally, anyone was capable of doing that because the survey itself is an objective one. And you're hiring the very people who are paying you to accomplish the survey. And I was surprised to me that they even brought those two people up. I think that was way beyond their expertise for one, and their job description. for
So
two.
where do we stand now?
They've
We wait
scheduled
until
it.
May 20th?
Yeah, we have to, with the planning board.
We need the third-party review to be done, and they said it's gonna take 30 days. So, I mean, we have to wait for that.
It's
Who's
just
the
too,
third party?
I'm sorry,
Who's the third party?
I don't know the
I
name
can
of
see
the
it in my
firm.
face, but I can't say the name.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know the name of the firm, but there's a company that does third-party reviews for the planning board.
and they did it
Oh,
for.
they're not here.
Allen and Major.
Play that one then.
Because they're also doing several other projects for the planning board.
Mhm.
Because they were there for the solar panel off of County Road, and they were there for hidden trails, right? For
I-
both of them, yeah.
I think they do all the reviews,
Yeah,
that's
because-
pretty typical.
Yeah, because we were so used to having Rowley do them all, and he retired, and I think this is the company that came in his place. Okay, but it was a tough meeting to listen to after sitting there for 3 hours.
Yeah, I don't know why
I'm
we were,
surprised you didn't get in, because I was able to get in.
I wish we hadn't been on the agenda because it wasn't, There wasn't
There wasn't
anything
anything
for
to
us.
talk about,
There
you
wasn't
sat there until close to 10 o'clock, yes.
Well, we thought after 2 months, they would have gone through something.
Maybe next time we ask the planning board to put non-solar projects or in trails later and let all the others come in, that it would be fairly quick, as opposed to waiting until the end.
Well, then we better stop talking, because I think we might just piss them off.
Okay, well, hey,
Has to be put on the queue.
Next on the agenda is also GHD and the draft of, update on the draft of comprehensive wastewater management plan, which I believe is due within a couple of months, really.
Yeah, so we have two public presentations that we would like to do. One before the sewer commission, and then one before a advisory group that we have, and solicit comments from both groups. We'd like to do those in April. When we've done the prior presentations we've done before the sewer commission has been an off-cycle meeting, so we could focus on it. So I don't know if that's really possible, like on the 18th or so, to do a presentation before you.
Keep in mind, we have town meeting coming up also.
So that's, I think, the 22nd.
Yes.
And, that's the following
yeah,
Monday.
that's
So,
what Monday.
and then we'd have to schedule the other meeting. I forget how we do that.
Coordination's good enough.
Yeah, you might, well, with your preference to do it during the daytime or the evening, you might try and find if 320 is available, that would be the largest room. And then already have set up as far as live television is concerned.
So the and forgive me, the room that's in the top of town hall, is that
That's
320?
320.
Yeah, that's,
So that's where we've been doing them.
Yep.
And that's,
Yeah.
yeah, that's where we'd like to do it. So we'll coordinate that through
Okay.
Patty.
we'll schedule it for you.
Before the
How-
18th.
how-
Yeah, the 18th is an off-cycle meeting for you, so if that would work. We could present there, and then we'd have to coordinate the date for the other meeting.
How long, are you that far along? I know it's a large document.
No,
You haven't heard anything about it yet.
No, we're prepared to kind of present, it's like a draft recommended plan and solicit comments, from you and from our, advisory group.
The advisory group.
Depending on the results of that, we would either, adjust the document, or, where we're heading is eventually this document needs to go for a state review to make sure it's compliant with their requirements, which, we don't have any doubt that it is, but they provide comments on the document.
Now, when is your target date for acceptance, is asked, go to town meeting?
It has to go before town meeting.
I believe for acceptance, final acceptance.
So I guess we could talk,
Really?
Yeah,
That's-
the original did.
that's not typical, but if that's what you want to do, that would be up to you. It would be a board that would provide approval to go before state approval. And the state approval isn't just DEP, it's a wide range of departments and,
So it goes under the NEPA review process, which has a long list of regulatory agencies as well as public participants that get copies of it, gets distributed to libraries, to all of the town buildings, to provide 30 days for public comments. And then all of those comments get funneled through NEPA, and NEPA makes the recommendations of which comments need to be addressed as we finalize the documents. So if they believe the comment needs to be incorporated, they'll include it in their certificate. We need to address all those comments, and then we submit it for final approval.
And just saying these comments, the original, was adopted in 2002, and it had specific requirements in it, and that may be why it was before town meeting, and specific, to the sewer department. There were specific areas, that they required being sewer,
Oh, the 5 areas, so we only did 4.
or 12 areas.
Be careful on the 18th of April, that's, the school board has that room.
okay.
they have it on the first and third, so if you're gonna do it with Patty, look at an earlier
So the
time.
18th was a proposed time to meet with the sewer commission.
We can't meet in that room at our normal time. You have to talk with,
27,
when?
June 27.
I don't have that scheduled, that's through Patty, I just know that the school board has room 320 when we're not in there, so. Or you wanna do it earlier in the day before the school board starts, but they're in there on the first and third Thursdays.
Okay.
The alternative room would be, as Jimmy said, 27, across the hall from Derek's office,
You've been
in the
in
town, hall itself. You refer to the multi-service center,
third floor,
Yeah.
in room 320.
right across from Derek's
But
house.
check with Patty, cause I
Yeah.
think there's a committee in that room already.
Okay.
We'll work it out.
Oh, we've been doing it on the front lawn.
We need a projector.
Only if it's not raining.
Umbrellas.
Okay, we'll anticipate the schedule for reviewing your draft. And now the next item on the agenda is superintendent's report. Well, Mr. Superintendent. We don't change that, because you're not a superintendent, you're a director.
Correct, yeah.
Do you have a preference?
No,
Was one more pompous than the other?
no, there's no esteemed either one greater than the other, so, no. Like I said before, we've been working down at Swiss Beach, checking out all the lines, and we found quite a few leaks, patched quite a few last week. We got the removal of a sump pump, and
Yay!
overall netted 20,000 gallons a day of infiltration gone. We're now going to other areas of the town, and we're isolating by the lift station pump run times and gallons, and we found quite a few areas, one of which we're getting an additional 100,000 gallons a day alone. Since February 10th, we're actually able to track it back, so we can actually go through and track back when these bumps happened. So, we're trying to figure out what's going on, because it's continuing. That's how far we are so far, but we've found quite a few more places up at Onset, and then a couple other areas that we need to do some patchwork to stop infiltration. Otherwise, the plant's been working, as it always has, pretty well. Lots of cleaning is going on, and the crew's doing a tremendous job, short-staffed, and they've been working very hard.
Now, the problems that you have identified down around the Swift Beach area, were they overshadowed by the major problem that we had
Yes,
with that?
yes. So we couldn't really even calculate that they were there before, until the repair was done.
So by repairing Murphy, you're able to find the others.
Murphy and One Kinko, yes.
Yes, well, no,
Yes.
yes.
And now we found the other ones, and we've gone up and down the lines, and it's looking much better. We'll also be putting a concrete plug in, there was a former bathhouse down at Swiss Beach, apparently. And all the openings for the toilets and sinks that go through the concrete pad that's still there are open and accessible to the ocean that comes in.
So that's by the pump station in that, it's that 5 acres on the beach.
Something like that,
Yeah.
There's a little playground.
It's right behind the playground, in between the playground and the beach parking lot.
Yeah,
Wait, between the playground and the Swiss, in the parking lot,
Mm-hmm.
there was a bathhouse there.
Yep.
Oh, so it wasn't on that piece of land that CPC bought?
No,
No,
and we've got some patchwork to do, so, and we're going to do it. Because every time the water comes up and floods that parking lot, we're taking on the ocean all day, every day. So,
When our tides the way they are, we're taking in a lot then.
That's the cycle off the high tides.
yeah, we were able to get our surplus down significantly, so we have additional room to EQs again.
do we know when that bathroom was demolished? How long it's been sitting as a pad?
Looks like a long time.
Yeah, it looks like a long time.
So
I don't even remember it. Jimmy, do
they
you?
said it went away at Hurricane Paul, perhaps.
which one,
Probably.
the bathhouse.
Yeah. When, I thought it was going had to been gone before Bob,
Oh, it was gone before,
Well,
Hmm.
couldn't tell you.
maybe 55 or 54, Donna.
probably. Yeah, because it was Carol.
Carol, yes, 55,
Yep.
54. Because that's when it did a job on whole Swiss Beach area, so it would have been that long ago.
I remember it well.
Thank you, I don't think so. Since it was in 55 and 56, I don't think so. So how are we doing now with all the water that's been coming down? All the rain?
We're catching up, it's getting better.
Noah is looking for a slip.
That's it?
It's all, that's it.
That's-
That's it for
That's
now.
enough.
That's all, folks.
Okay, almost in there, just as an FYI, we've known that Fiera has been looking for their final payment of $10,451.68. They finally, from our legal and from town administration, have had a release in exchange for payment statement put out. I have a copy of it, signed, and finally he is going to be paid. I can take him off my Christmas card list, because I was hearing from him about every 2 weeks. And rightly so, he had credit, he was just looking for his money, but finally it has been done.
Can I have the dollar amount for the minutes?
$10,451.68.
Yay. It's only been, what, 6 months?
More than that.
Nine.
On that.
More than that.
Yeah.
No reason for it, but it's been that long.
At 5%, I wonder how much we save by waiting.
We didn't get any benefit.
All right.
Just as an FYI, there was an individual, MOE was the name of it, and it's a testing company. And I sent copies, you, I believe, everyone, on their sales pitch. They were interested because we were doing the narrows, I guess. It has nothing to do with us, it was unsolicited, and just came in the email. Copy to each of us as well as Scott.
Could I add one thing to the
Certainly.
director, superintendent, whatever report? So, the question was asked at one point, how much the additional water, to the 40,000 gallons, or the 20,000 gallons that we eliminated cost to treat. What the cost would be monetarily to treat those gallons. Now, if we broke them down by EDU with an average house of 330 gallons per day, we ended up with, I forget all the math, but I think it was 56 and a half houses. And we multiplied that by the annual rate of $743, we end up with $40,000 some odd dollars. So, in the course of things and patching things up and trying to eliminate the use of the sewer to discharge groundwater, sump pump water, anything else, there's a tangible cost that has to be considered when we do things. So the water that we're treating right now, that's groundwater or sump pump water, is costing the town. Right now, we're receiving over 200,000 gallons a day of additional water, all of it's infiltration and or sump pumps, we don't know which. But things are going on. We're treating water that we're technically not getting paid to treat. And as a result, that cost is up over $500,000 that we're losing in annual fees that we can be putting into the system to work better, into the lift stations to get them up to snuff. So, just want to have that on record.
So my notes will say that $500,000 a year is being wasted processing clear water and not being used to improve the plant.
And otherwise stressing our system, yes.
That's significant. Thank you.
Yes, I might say thank you as well, because that's quite an improvement since the time you've been here. It's nice to see things working in the right direction.
Scott, what approximately does that translate into gallons?
What?
That half a million.
That's over 200,000 gallons a day. I think that we're taking it for infiltration right now. As a result,
So if we could cut that number in half,
we need to cut all the way up.
then you'd be, I
You cut it in
understand.
half, we're still,
What I'm looking at is if we could cut that in half, we could modify the moratorium somewhat,
yes.
if we could cut it in half.
If we can cut it in half, and if we can look to the future to stop the infiltration from happening
That would
during
be
the
better.
storms, the high tide events,
Yeah.
the moon tide, the king tide,
No,
whatever.
I understand, I'm just looking at
Yeah.
saying that, it's not gonna be something's gonna happen overnight, I know that.
We've got a good chunk by doing the 20,000 over the sump pump in the patches at Swiss Beach. That's a significant.
Yeah.
I know it's only 10% of what you're trying to do, but it's
We were
target.
very happy with the cooperation with that one sump pump alone was 5,000 gallons.
How did you deal with it?
Left my card with my cell phone. The person called me back, we had a discussion, very polite discussion, happy to talk to them. And they, in a matter of days, fixed the problem. And we can calculate that drop from our lift station. The following week, when we did the extra patchwork, we gained an additional 15,000 gallons, so all total 20,000 gallons from being able to investigate and see what was going on there. So again, we're continuing to do that, and I'm continuing the process, just update my card, we'll have a fine discussion. I'd like to see down the road if there's a way for us to help out a private citizen to reroute the sump pump.
What did this individual do with his sump pump? Discharge it in the yard?
Yes.
Some of it will come back, but most of it will go into the groundwater.
Groundwater's fine.
I know, but it will sink into the ground. Not all of it will come back into his cellar.
He pumps it up and he pumps it to Oak Street.
Thank you. Our drains are not working on Oak Street.
Are they clean?
Yeah, they can clean it. Now we have to find a way to keep the leaves off of it, but thank you, Scott. That was a big win.
Just another last final FYI, the blowers, have you been able to go forward with anything yet? You're gonna wait till town meeting?
I'll be talking to Mark about putting an RFP out. We have to put an RFP out to get bids so that we can get the blowers.
So the bids go out before you're
That way,
voted on the,
correct. That's the idea.
Yeah.
As soon
get
as
them
possible.
going. So as soon as we are done with the fourth Monday in April,
Wow.
He actually has the money, per se.
So that's the key, I think, right, because there is money,
Yeah.
right?
Yes,
We have the funding mechanism,
but it hasn't been approved by town meeting.
correct.
that would
However,
be a
but
mechanism.
even if it was, we wouldn't be able to move forward with the RFP, so we need.
Yes. He has the funding in his enterprise fund. It just hasn't been voted to disperse.
To let it out.
So if not, I make a motion, we close at 2:27.
Second,
Motion made and seconded, no discussion allowed, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, meeting's adjourned. Okay, at 2:34, call the workshop meeting to order. May I have a roll call, please?
Jim DeBerti, present.
Bob Scanlon, present.
Bernie Pigeon present.
Sandy Slavin,
You don't know.
Okay, thank you. The opening of the workshop. Workshops are generally discussion, maybe with a specific subject in mind, but there's also can be a wide open discussion to allow the members not to be bound by any particular restrictions in terms of their concern, individual concern. First one is the moratorium for the discussion. If we wish to or have thoughts about lifting the moratorium, we have to come up with a criteria for doing so, because there would be an onslaught perhaps of applications. And do we want to limit it? Do we want to concern ourselves, first of all, just how much we have? If we have limited based on our permit, 1.56 maximum, that comes up on average about 1.2 something, million gallons per day. What would you say would be our average for a year, based on what limited information you have and what you've done with this system thus on a daily basis?
Right now, again, we're drowning, but historically, what I saw before December 18th, we were sitting around, for the summertime, 1 million gallons a day, and for the wintertime, anywhere between 882 million gallons a day.
So we would be, at this point in time, based on that figure, about 200,000 gallons.
Correct, which is currently being taken up by rainwater.
Because if we were to implement the list that we got from GHD on April 22, that was the list of everything that had been approved in their anticipated gallons. If we were to have implemented all of this and we had the rain that we've been having, we would have a problem.
We'd be close to a problem. The reality is the expected gallons from that is probably about 50% of what's actually shown there. So, yeah, we'd be in a little bit of struggle, but we'd be able to make it.
Thank God for the lagoons.
Yeah,
I'm sure glad they're done.
yeah.
Do we know how much Warren is giving us?
There's only
That's
about
part-
like 60,000 gallons a day so far.
But we're obligated to give them 200?
And again, of that 200, you could probably expect 100.
Plus the 80 they're gonna give us from the,
One.
from,
But that's already calculated.
That would be
in our
in
allocation.
though.
that's
No,
No,
part
I
of
know,
it.
but I'm just putting it up against what's coming into
You
the
get the
plant in
80.
total.
It's based
So if we're
on
doing 1 million gallons a
the
day,
max amount of people per
and Warren
per house.
still
For the
has
campground.
part of the
Right,
contract
yeah.
Oh, we
to
don't, yeah.
provide more, we have to factor that in.
Yeah,
So,
I believe it already is.
Is there any way to,
Yeah,
know-
Contractual.
of these locations, how many have been done and hooked in? I tried to look on the inspection services site, and some of these said stopped, not done, but I know people are living in it, which means I'm not reading the inspection services database correctly to say these are done or not. Is there something there I can go at the sewer plant to say whether or not, I was gonna say,
And we're billing them.
that we've done them. Here, I know that the car wash is up and running, but if I look at the car wash, the database inspection services says stopped, but they're running, cause I've been through it. So, but, I guess,
Did you take your car?
I did, I even put my windows up. But here's one for Popeyes. I'm told that Popeyes has withdrawn and pulled away. It's no longer anymore, so maybe, I don't know how to keep this list current,
I have the
Is a
same
good
question.
is a
Yeah.
good way of putting it.
So was Sonia.
Huh?
Does Sonia have it?
I
Should
don't
be in the
know.
database,
I
there's
don't
access
know.
if They got their permits.
Cause one of it includes Danny Warren's business on 176 Main Street, says it stopped. 52 Main Street says it stopped.
I'd look at our billing and find out if we're sending them a bill. And because most of them, when you consider when we enacted the moratorium, their year has expired, so if they're not
Well,
online,
The
It's
brand new,
withdrawn.
the brand new car wash down by Eastern
Who
Bank
puts-
is up
who
and
puts
running,
that-
but
Who puts that list together?
GHD, and we asked them for an updated list.
that was
So
2
I
years
think
ago. That's 2
Christiana
years ago.
has put that list together and it,
They come from the sewer plant.
Okay, you see, I know that the 2 car washes are up and running, so
Okay, so if that list came from here, then that's where you need to go to that source to get it corrected, that's all. If I don't mean,
Oh,
I don't care who's on
I
or off
want,
it.
I want to be updated, because if something is done,
Well, then
Yeah.
let it come from wherever it came from originally, give it back to that point and let them update it.
Well, I don't know. All I know is GHD gave it to us at a meeting.
'Cause we
How
can't-
they get
we
to it,
can't-
I don't know.
We're never gonna update it sitting here.
No,
Okay,
But
so
what
then
bothers
let's find out
me-
where's it go.
all right?
Does it go back to GHD, does it go to, Christiana, does it go
we'll
to?
update it.
I was gonna ask Christiana to look through her database to ascertain, A, if we're billing them, that's a good one. And secondly, if, for the building department, if their permit is finalized, or
Well,
is it all standing?
if we're billing them, then got their building permit.
Indeed.
Yes,
But as you point out, there's some of them, that there is
I'm not
one
ready,
could say stop and one could be, and yet still receiving a bill. Because none of these databases are interacting.
okay,
I agree with your questions, I have them myself.
I know both car washes are up and running, so I'd like to put the word done next to them so I can remove them from this list. Remove them from this list. Anyway, okay,
Use the one next to Stop and Shop, the better car wash.
no, they don't do wheels well.
But the one, doesn't brush it down the front of the rear. The
It
other
doesn't go down the back of my hatchback, yes, so I have to do it at home. Okay,
That's
Well,
why,
well,
that's why.
one.
you
Runs
have
that run
them.
Allen's car garage.
Go to both. Go to both.
okay,
Okay, now I really did a lot of stuff, so if you go through this in the packet you have, each one is titled even, I really. So there's the moratorium, we just covered the moratorium. The, in the second page, the yellow line sheet there's a copy of, those are figures that Scott has worked up.
I'll share.
That's a spreadsheet that he.
Put the screenshot of my scribble.
All right,
Put the
Yeah.
screenshot of my scribble. Oh, jeez.
see,
Yeah.
okay, the enterprise fund. We approximately have, based from, DOR, approximately $5 million in our, retained earnings.
I thought that was free cash.
It's one and the same.
No, I didn't think
So
so.
it's retained earnings for us, it's free cash for general government.
So, being free cash,
Enterprise fund, free cash, retained earnings.
we have
Yes,
5 million available.
Yes, it actually will actually have more than that, Sandy, because, we received it,
We're about to return 2 million.
yes. It won't fall into that 5 million, it won't change, because DOR has to certify that to savings.
Yeah, but
Can
The
start
question
planning
is-
the Christmas party.
what can we do, what projects, what capital projects can we identify for those funds? We know we have the 400,000 for the blowers and, 3 trucks. What else can we do with the enterprise?
First, determine whether or not that 5 million is net, what we don't already have, commitments against it.
We've been,
Don't, we still have commitments outstanding, or we will be having commitments.
They would be encumbered funds, I don't think they'd be, classified as, if
Free
you
cash.
use the word free cash. They're
so of
encumbered.
that, the only thing we have
We did some
pending
articles, yeah.
is the 400,000. I know of nothing else that has gone for free cash. It's gone,
There was one for, Swift Speech,
no, that would have been,
retained earnings.
it would have been encumbered and would not be identified
Yes,
as
I
being
agree.
available for free cash.
Jimmy, trying to convince Jimmy of
I just wanna make sure that number that we're playing with is a valid number.
that. I tell you what, I will personally reimburse you for gas to ride into DOR
Oh,
and raise Cain.
who was the talking about? Because they don't seem to know what's going on.
Okay. And in, of course, there's revenue, we up on 7 mil, I believe, with the number of, users we have. And they're $749, was it? So, and, the director is requesting, let's see, $6,787,105 for FY '25.
What page are you looking on? enterprise.
We have about
There it is.
9,581 EDUs at 743 per. Revenue about $7,118,683. And we have, let's see, what do we have in debt?
We have a lot.
And what we paid. Where is it now? We don't have better than almost 2 mil in debt. But when we count the EDUs that I just gave you, we don't count the other expenses such as, excuse me, the monies from Bourne, which comes up to approximately 600,000.
Are we able to take in trucks,
Septic and grease.
septic yet being dumped?
Not currently.
Okay,
As soon as we get rid of all this extra water, we're gonna start that.
okay, so that is a chance of giving us some more revenue by having the haulers
We
dump.
have to.
Yes, because we stopped them because of our issue with the ground stuff.
No, that was a headworks issue. But we're gonna,
But we couldn't take in haulers.
It's a headless.
we've worked our way around that.
Okay, because we had the issue with having sludge. Couldn't dispose of sludge, therefore couldn't take in anything extra. Okay, so where's the list of what he wants capitalized on what page?
Pardon?
You said Scott wanted some capital to be used for our enterprise fund. Where's that list? Did I misunderstand?
Yes, I
Oh.
didn't mention anything about capital.
Oh,
Everything, his budget runs a little different than typical. There are certain things that have been, included in it. But overall, nothing changes. Let's see, there's the budget submission typical.
wasn't the capital line 800,000? Or did I miss? About 800,000 for capital in your budget?
Sorry, I don't have it in front of me.
Well, I know I had seen it. Capital construction,
Well, that's a line item in the budget,
yeah,
In the operating- part of your operating budget.
yes, there is a capital line item in the budget. I know I saw it. $689,000.
You boost it up to 800 recommended.
Well,
I don't think they gave it to you. I'm looking at this one.
well, wait a minute, what has been submitted to our warrant for town meeting, because you can't
It's
change,
the only article. Unless there's a separate one.
well, the
Typically,
article,
the capital he has in this budget that I have here, this is his operating budget. And there's capital costs within the operating budget.
and how much is it? 800,
It's been
800.
about, yes, requesting 800, it's, prior was 400. And there was 1 year, previous budget was 1.6, and this is all within the operating budget.
So this 800,000 is in with the operating budget for capital. Okay. Then you have your 5+ million sitting out there for free cash. So
The
what
two
are
don't
those?
meet.
No,
That's
what,
the
I
operating.
know.
Okay.
So he has $5.8 million to spend on capital. If you look
No,
at,
because the retained earning comes out based on our votes. That's an operating budget,
Yes.
so that's, and we will also recommend the operating budget in which that capital is inclusive of.
mm-hmm, so how do you wanna spend the 5 million is what I'm asking.
Oh, there's no encumbrance, I'm just telling you what it is. This is an FYI.
Can
And I
you think
that-
about how you might like to use your budgeted capital so we can get in there for fall town meeting?
Yes. I need to get through the first stages of what we're doing here to figure out exactly what we need. But I will come up with a list of numbers for you.
I forgot, I was gonna bring the capital plan that we approved on Wednesday and I forgot to bring it.
We're gonna have to account for the fencing for the pigs, for the animals and stuff in here.
Okay, what
Keep the
next?
foxes in.
Okay. You have, because this one's what's in the system. Whether it is capital, 675,000. And I can recognize this printout that comes off the town's database,
And why doesn't it match that one?
because these are two different documents you're looking at.
I know that,
One, if you look at the top, says there are proposals suggested. This is what is in the system, and this is what would be printed in the finance committee work. The blue one here, this is the, well, that's great, I'm sorry, you're in black and white. But departmental expense budget, this is a result of the, negotiations 2 out of 3 falls with Derek.
so that's the, it's too many budget submissions, I get confused. I guess I'll wait to take a look at the warrant and see which one comes up at town meeting.
The abatements, Peter,
What,
you had a lot of questions about abatements, how it goes on.
I still do.
Because Christiana wasn't here, she wrote out the process, and yes, there is a gap. As you pointed out, in that
This
once
process,
once it's paid, she
How does-
has no notice that
It's
it's turned
not-
back on.
totally correct.
Beg your pardon?
It's not totally correct,
Where
but
do you feel the
the
difference?
problem is, I'm having trouble finding out who to ask to get the correction. If you, if you talk about item 6, for
Mhm.
instance, okay? The approval letter and the money is credited to their account. And it's put on hold immediately. Now, that's not totally correct, because if you ask that question and assume that the account is put on hold, then you wouldn't have to file an abatement the next billing cycle. And as it stands right now, you do have to file an abatement for each billing cycle.
Yes, because you read that.
Which is good, because I haven't found out the mechanism for how you get put on the billing cycle.
If you look at
Back
the list,
on, or
when the building department gives an occupancy permit, who do they tell in order for the assessor to tell the treasurer to start charging them their taxes? Or how do we know to put them on our billing list? So the question is to the building department, when they give an occupancy permit, who does it go to? What happens then? And I'm not getting an answer on that.
Christiana tells me that that is where there's a break.
It seems so. And I really think that I'm gonna have to ask to talk to John Foster. Because each time I talk to somebody in the treasurer's office, I get a different version. At one point, I was told that abatements come from the selectman's office.
Well, they did when they were sewer commissioners.
Well, they don't any longer,
I
and they
know.
haven't for quite a while. But, I mean, that's the kind of response I'm getting. That the deeper this is worse than any onion I've ever seen. The more I unravel it, the more it stinks.
So you think there's people out there occupying the house that are not receiving
It's
either
conceivable,
sewer or tax bills?
it's conceivable.
We don't know that.
And Christiana handles all the abatements.
Well, see, the
through
thing
here.
is,
And
that
there's just one person, as far as this
Christiana
office is
sees
concerned.
it from her perspective. Then you take what she tells you and you go to these other people and you can't verify this.
Now, we're walking a line here also, and not required to whether or not if and it's legitimate. Because a lot of this process is Scott's, because this is his domain and how it's processed.
Well, do you have a billing list for everything that goes out?
There is one, I don't have it personally, but.
Do you, so does she send that up every billing cycle?
Anita? Hi. Come on in.
Just happened to walk
Worst
by.
timing ever. How do we have a list? What generates a list of people we bill for EUs?
Come on, Anita, don't be afraid to go on
No,
camera.
that's quite all right, thank you. What generates?
Yeah, like how do we know?
When someone builds a new house, when do we start billing them?
When they move in,
Who tells you they've moved in?
when we receive a, certificate of occupancy.
Coming from inspection services.
Yes.
Okay,
So it comes directly from inspectional services?
Yes.
Alright, that's the answer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So they must, the same, if you look at that, must also trigger the other departments to do the billing, like taxes.
We don't care about
Well, that,
No, I know, but the idea is that,
that makes a lot of sense, which is why I'm skeptical.
Perfect logic.
I'm a Republican, I mean, I don't trust any of this stuff.
Okay, with your cool dad. But that's
Let me-
really, if I think you're calling,
If that's correct, let me go back to Jenna and see what I can find from her, because if in fact it's coming out of the building department, she'll be the one that'll actually handle it.
it's coming from the building department, but understand, this is a fresh bill. I got a new bill, and the paperwork coming in to go on into the various offices in the town hall for billing purposes, taxes, et cetera. And then it comes to us. But, to deeper for you is, once you've received the abatement, how do you get back onto the system?
Well, see now, stop right there.
Okay,
I'm not so sure you get taken off the system, regardless of what this says. At this point, I think you have to file for abatement every billing cycle and leave that alone. Because otherwise we will have the problem that you're coming up with.
Then if that's the case, every time we've abated something, we should see another abatement in another year. And we don't see the same repeating
we don't.
addresses.
No, Sandy's right, we don't.
Well,
There's-
it may be because they were only off for a year.
Exactly. You can't file it until
Okay.
it's been
Now-
on.
You going home?
No, the accounts get put on hold with some abatements until.
We can't hear you. You have to get in here.
I thought Scott was saying they were
They
on
get
the
on,
lips.
they get put on hold until we get a certificate of occupancy also, stating that they moved back in when the house was built, or.
So if the house has been water turned off, they've been doing work on the house, you get another occupancy permit when
No,
it's
then-
completed.
Yes, when it's completed, then we get a sign off saying that the work is
So
completed.
anybody who had been abated will now start getting their bill
Then
when you
they'll
get a
get
new
off- taken off.
occupancy.
They'll get taken off the hold and then they'll.
They stay on hold until you get this new occupancy
Mhm.
permit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, hold on. What if I just shut the water off and I'm not doing any work on the house and therefore I haven't pulled any permit?
Alright, when you shut your water, it has to be shut off for a full year. and
Okay,
you
it
get a letter
is.
from the water department stating that the, water was
Yeah,
shut off for
fine.
a full year.
Okay,
Now wondering what happens when they turn the water back on, how do we get rid of that from the water
We're
department?
supposed to, but sometimes we don't.
That's what,
So there's a gap there
The skip
confirming
isn't paid off.
that the water department doesn't, either water department does not always notify us when the water's
CYO.
turned back on.
Correct.
and well, I like hearing what you're saying, Anita. I may not hear the same thing when I ask the same question to the building department.
So I think to Peter's point, his point is, okay, we abated them. If it's just a water turn off that caused the abatement, build them again so they can show us again that we turned the water back.
Well, normally we'll call, Christiane will call the water department to see if the water has been turned on. And when it was turned on, and then they will get that bill from that point on.
So
So to go back to Peter's skepticism, if we build them and it's off, they'll let us.
Oh, most
So,
definitely.
Yeah, so I think.
So
going
we're
back to
better
Peter's
off.
end, we're better off, okay, we abated them this year, we're still gonna bill you the next cycle. So, in other words,
So
The onus would be on them to prove that,
that's right.
Mm-hmm.
So keep, every single person that's connected should get a bill, and let them come back and tell us to abate
Mm-hmm.
that.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
So,
So she
And-
has a big file.
And if they're off for more than one cycle, make them come back again.
I think,
So-
We have a problem with
So we can turn abatement for either construction and therefore water off, or someone just turn the water off and then not using the building. If it's construction, we'll be notified when they get occupancy, but there is absolutely no guarantee that we will be notified by either water department if the water's been turned back on.
correct. So, in other words, when someone files an abatement, they, well, that's us giving them their feedback for the
Mhm.
previous year,
Yes.
but it shouldn't take them off the billing cycle. So the next billing cycle, they
So
should,
then theoretically, everybody we've given abatement to should have had another bill within a year. And let them come back to us to saying why.
well, I think what Peter and I are saying is
Yes.
that's exactly what should happen.
Mhm.
Evidently, that's not what has happened.
They're waiting for,
Well, it may be, they may have finished their project, turned the water back on, and therefore they're not doing anything.
Right, but again, we're relying on a notification that the water's been turned back on and or the construction was complete.
Well, so are you saying the breakdown is between us and the water department, or us and the building department?
I would say more water than building because we get a occupancy permit.
And don't know whether or not, which one of the two water departments are not notifying us.
So in other words, if it's strictly a water turn off, the mechanism in place might not be as
I
clear
think,
cut as receiving an occupancy.
I think, Bernie, what we're gonna have to do is kick this around and come up with a policy from the sewer department, and then inform all of these other agencies, both water departments, the building department, the assessor, and the treasurer, that this is now policy. And we'll come up with a foolproof policy.
That's fine. Providing Scott approves it
It may be
also.
nothing more than a modification of what we've got, but
It could
it-
eliminate, there's a problem, we think. And I said,
it's just
Your
that there's
opinion?
holes in the system right now. And if we do it as policy, then we should, and I say should, fill in the holes.
Well, can someone go to the two water departments and ask what their process is when water is turned on?
I will do that.
All those in favor of Peter doing
What I'm hearing is our process is Christiana's calling the water departments to see who,
No, they should be calling us. I think.
it's not gonna
Or
happen. But I
even-
think
Well, if we
to
just
make
do,
it foolproof,
that's right,
we just bill everyone.
that's right.
And the abatement is, they don't pay the tax bill, we approve the abatement, what they're gonna get on the bill, the following cycle.
Well,
And
And it-
if they're
That's,
so what
Still-
Sandy's saying, Scott,
that's
is
the simplest way.
if that be the case,
Yeah,
and
it's
the
a
project
It requires
took
paper
longer
trail.
than the billing cycle, we should be getting a second abatement for the same
It's in
project.
house.
That's what
correct,
you
and we
do.
need to bill them.
He's
to
got
get
full
that.
control over the whole situation,
So
without having to depend on
at
anyone
no
else.
point
Mhm.
in our,
That's what it should be.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We don't need the other thing, we don't need the water.
at no point in our process should we
No.
stop billing anyone that's been attached to
Okay,
the
so as
sewer.
I,
Let them reach back out.
so as
So what do we
it
make a
started
motion
out,
to-
so if you look at six
modify the
A on the
policy?
abatement process,
So that
it states approval letters.
abatements,
The money will
Get
be
billed
credited to
until
their account
they
and their
conclude
sewer
that they
account
get
will be put on hold immediately. We don't wanna do that.
Right,
Okay.
right.
It should
So
be.
we're all in agreement there.
'Cause I don't,
But see, this is the problem. This is what Christiana or Anita or it thinks is happening.
so how do we change the policy?
Well, that's exactly why I just suggested that we just write a new policy and pass it around to the other agencies.
I see what you suggest is a matter of policy, we continue billing.
Yeah,
It should be,
The
yeah, it shouldn't
Peter
be
policy.
incumbent on us to make the correction for the customer. They know what they're doing and what they wanna do.
well, let's face it, if you weren't getting a bill, you're gonna pay it?
Well, that's just it, yeah.
About how many
so what do we need
abatements
to
do we do in a
need to
year?
make a policy, do we need to make a motion?
She's
Change
got
the
a
policy
policy
that-
there in the
that-
office,
Right
she
away.
keeps it very neat and very much up to date.
Policy, you have to write it first, put it on the agenda.
Yes.
So in answer to your question on the abatements, Bernie, work to be done.
Yes. Okay, the next one, is billing and communications. The billing, last meeting, as a result of the customer returning this, the blue part that goes out with the bill, and, well, they complained about their road to 17 North Street, tripping hazard, and there was a photo, I believe, in it also. Well, I'm looking in the context of being in marketing for so many years. You have to put yourself, from my point of view, in the position of the person you're addressing. You receive a bill in the mail, you go out to the mailbox, bring it in, look at it, you save this one because it's an invoice, you open it up, first thing you pull out is your invoice, and that's the important part. That's what you're gonna pay. You're not gonna sit down in front of the fire and read all of this. And we paid for the extra paper in. Now, again, we're rolling over into Scott's domain. My suggestion was delete this whole thing, and on the back of the bill, as above the fold, and not on the back of the invoice, but on the back of the bill, we just give them a number to call and the website, if they have questions regarding sump pumps, routes, whatever. But they have just a couple lines. So all they wanna know is, who do I call? They're not gonna sit down and read the whole thing. As I said, when I was involved in mailing, when we did driver licenses, everything you add in the envelope is extra.
Yeah, so we should have the town website and Mark's cell phone number.
Indeed.
Well, that's
Excellent
my
point.
cell phone.
Was that a motion?
Yes.
I'll second it.
Actually, we have two websites. I notified the
One that works and one that
Board of
doesn't.
Selectmen that I was not on their chair at all.
So,
And I was
And-
missing on the other.
Yeah, and Bob was, his expiration of his term was missing from one. And then she tells me, but you're
I
on
have
two
no
websites.
expiration.
You're on the other one, but not this.
Dictator.
There's a water commissioner website, wastewater commissioner website, and a water plant website, and they don't match.
you're not supposed to. How can you-
Which one is Scott on?
I can't remember of the two, but they
It's
don't,
on our
the
Facebook
list,
page.
the name of commissioners members on both websites do not match each other.
No.
That's been that way for years. But, by the way, North Water Street is being addressed by municipal maintenance.
Hmm.
They got rid of the two hazardous stormwater drains on the beach there, but that's outside of sewer. But
Well,
yes,
my-
it's been an issue, sorry. When I get my water bill, my sewer bill, and I rip off the piece to come back, it contains all the information for abatement. So I don't have, there should be nothing written on the back of the bill section, cause that's gonna disappear in the mail. Whatever we give them on the top half of the bill is what they're gonna be able to keep. If that makes sense?
Oh, yeah.
In the short term, it saved us several thousand, at best. But
And
it's
then
just-
everybody reads that blue folder, that blue insert.
No, no one reads this.
I did,
First paragraphs.
yeah.
Train wreck.
Okay, that's L and I. Now enforcement, which was on the sump pumps. Scott had indicated he got benefit from addressing the individual, the sump pumps, one-on-one, verbal. And then we discussed, there should be a sequence outlined of how to address the sump pumps, culminating finally with a fine. He has sufficient information, reliable information, when they do the cammering and all. And he was successful with the verbal, and I would suggest that we include that in a step process. In that you're addressing the individual verbally. Once that is done, then you go on to the next level. But you have to account for each one. If you're gonna go through the enforcement ultimately with a fine, I can't remember, Peter was looking up the fines a couple of meetings ago. If you're gonna do that, you have to have an established process as you escalate up. And that you have to make sure that they're all identified, that is, let's say on today's date, I addressed Mr. So-and-so, verbal advices about these sump pumps. Now you can go to the next step, because you justified the initial one. Now you can keep on going, and I think we have to do that. That would be out in our policy. Part of something I think we should do is to outline in that detail, our policy for recovery of sump pumps. Because as Scott has said, it's an enormous number of gallons, unbelievable. Comment?
Yes, the gentleman that you spoke to, and he corrected the situation. Now, because I am a doubting Thomas, have you gone back and cambered the pipe again? Did he correct it?
proof is currently in the street.
Excuse me?
The proof is in the street.
Okay. But what I'm getting at is, I got a sump.
You're right, yeah, so
I
if his.
unplug it, you're happy, you leave, I plug it back in.
So this is where, if allowed, the sewer department would assist in the plumbing, eliminating the ability to just simply take the hose out of one place and put it back in another. It would be a hard pipe solution,
Well,
which
now
would
you
take
have,
effort to undo.
yeah, but now, that's fine if the person in question is agreeable to it.
Mhm.
But I mean, if, as I said, I'm the reason Reagan had trust but verified.
And mutually assured destruction.
Well, you know, and as far as the smoke test, you can't prove anything, because all they have to do is put a trap in the line.
It won't come up.
Won't come through back through the,
The smoke test won't prove anything.
no, I know it. But we had somebody here that used to say that's how we'd have to find out.
No, it wouldn't, it would simply just go out there stack, all it would show is that they're connected to the sewer system. It wouldn't,
Well, if they put a trap on the line, it would go out through the stack, but I mean,
regardless, okay, so the best case scenario in improving that, you'd have a smoke-filled basement. If it didn't have a
which
trap.
is okay,
Okay,
as long as we use purple smoke.
So you found it through camera work, right?
yeah,
All right, so that would be a labor-intensive way of just going back and re-cammering problem areas to make sure that it doesn't show up again.
you know, and we don't even have to get to that point because everything's hooked up to the lift station. So if we see after rainstorms, the lift stations start picking up more flow,
Then you know there's
we have to go back. We're gonna be
Yeah.
compelled to go back anyway.
Assuming
Because-
all our pipes don't leak.
Well, that's, we have to verify that first.
Right.
So first,
we're in the
we're
early
attempting to
stages
fix
of
what
that.
we can fix on our end. Second, we're asking the public to help us fix an existing issue.
But if I've got a $50,000 playroom below sea level,
Yeah.
you know, I need that something.
Agreed. You know, wet driveway.
Yeah, you need a sump pump, but it doesn't mean it has to go into the sewer. It has to be an
Well,
alternative
it
discharge.
does if you're down on the beach, because if you pump it out onto the lawn, you're basically just
It's
recirculating.
gonna come back in quickly.
Well, that's the common argument, of course, but is it gonna be filtered again?
But some of it will stay on the ground. It
Oh,
won't
yeah.
immediately come back in through the solid wall.
Not,
Right
not
now-
with some of the rain we've had recently.
Yeah, right now the actual groundwater level is so high that no matter where you put it, it doesn't matter. You would need the dewatering wells in the street to really make a dent in how high the water level is right
Well, irrespective of all those issues, bottom line is we're a sewer department. It's costing us money to process that water, which doesn't belong in the sewer system. So irrespective of your $50,000 playroom, or the fact that it's gonna recycle and come right back in through the backyard and basement, it's not supposed to be in the sewer line.
It's against the law for it to be in the sewer.
Correct.
I mean, eventually EPA could come after us.
And it's against the law to be in the stormwater drain.
And all you have to do is mention this to Mr. Bernard, and you'll realize how strong
What'd you
he
say,
feels
Sandy?
about the issue. He said there is
You
no
cannot-
program and it's against state law, period.
now. Yeah,
Bottom line.
both federal and state, you can't, you're not supposed
Some
to,
pumps cannot be discharged into stormwater drains
or sewer.
or
Right.
sewer. Well, either.
There's someone down the
Stormwater
hall.
drains cannot go into
No,
the street drains?
No, cannot.
You mean some pumps.
some pumps cannot go into the street, cannot go into sewer.
Stormwater.
Especially in cases where the storm drains discharge directly to the navigable waters of the United States. We did a separate permit for each outfall.
So those people down there,
Stormwater cannot go into,
no. Some
Some
pump,
pump water, storm water that comes off the street. There's an
well, what the
expectation.
sump pumps are pumping is stormwater.
but they can't
That's
pump
groundwater.
directly into the
Groundwater.
street. You can't put their pipe in the street.
I hear what you're
You
saying.
put their pipe in the out on the grass, and if it happens to flow to the street, then it does.
Okay.
That it's stormwater.
Then it's stormwater. But sump pumps cannot have their discharge directly into a driveway that goes to a street, or a street that goes down to a drain. But if you put your line out on the grass and some of it happens to flow to the water,
Well, I'll tell you in the cases of Swiss Beach, they're not sitting on a lot of land.
oh, they're not.
So
They're short hoses.
we just have to regulate the lesser of two evils.
Mhm.
Simple as that.
As conservation, I'm doing this.
I would too.
There's someone on the corner of Swifts and Makinko, as you're going down the right-hand side. There's an outlet right above the storm drain in his lawn.
Yeah. Oh, not fortunate.
It's probably a gopher hole.
Oh, he's the
No,
one,
it's got a
he's the
vent-
one
it's
that
got a
cut all
vent
the
on it,
trees down on
so the
Swiss
critters
Beach.
don't get out.
Okay, can we, are we about done?
Is there anything else anyone would like to bring up? It's an open discussion.
Just one question for Scott. In the department budget, are we using that much fresh water? $20,000?
They're charging a lot.
Is there any way to use what we process?
Yeah, from the sump pumps.
No, because if we, so sanitary sewer overflow would be prompted if, let's say, we take our factor out and we put our effluent water in the factor, and the factor, which it does, leaks on the ground. Because it's a hose, it's just a hose and no pressure rod. Because that effluent water didn't get to the point that it was supposed to go, called the it's technically a sanitary sewer overflow. So we have to use fresh water in all of our processes that would not come back into the plant.
Really?
Yes.
That's the first time I've heard that explanation. Probably makes a little sense.
You do, it's somewhere in the system, you do use some of it.
We use the effluent water at the beginning of almost every process we have.
To recycle. We process it.
Right, we are
We
going
do.
to change what section of water we recycle. Because we're recycling 500,000 gallons a day, maybe more. So, in other words, if we want to look at the efficiency of our filters, if we took that water that we're putting through the filter and then putting all the way back into the system, we could actually make our filters work a little bit more efficient. So what we're going to do is take our water now for plant purposes before the filters. And the benefit is it's higher in nitrate, so there'll be better odor control. They need it for the wood chip project they're doing anyway, so it's all going to kind of work together.
Good.
So we hope to have that in place before summer.
Anything else? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion we adjourn.
Second.
Bob seconded.
Motion's made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
324.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you, Scott.